Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I am a complete mess most of the time, and today we're going to have fun being a mess on the internet by sharing the worst breakup stories that folks sent to me. Some of these are not so bad, some of these are funny, some of these are a little bit sad, but what they all share in common is I think we all learned something from these breakups. Anyway, I asked on Instagram, if you had a funny breakup, send it to me and I will share it anonymously. So I shared it on my Instagram stories. People freaking loved it. They told me, please do this again. Please make this a podcast. Please share more of these. I'm not going to make it a podcast, but I am going to make it a YouTube series. So here, for our very first time, is funny bad breakup stories. So this is edition 1, and I am planning on making a Google Docs where people can share more funny breakup stories below. So check out that link if you have a funny breakup story that you'd like to submit to the series. Go ahead and do that. But let's get started. I have the breakup stories all here on my phone, the whole world at my hand, and here we go. Let's confess our funniest breakups. I went on a date with this guy. We ended up ordering Chinese and bringing it to my place. He proceeded to go into my fridge and use my entire bottle of sriracha, then started making rude jokes like we've known each other longer than one date. Then after he ate, he put his fingers through his beard and put his beard in his mouth. Reading this out loud is so much grosser than just reading it on my phone, and I can't. And sucked on it a little, like to get off the leftover sriracha. I have no idea. That moment I was like, okay, have a good night, I'm getting tired. He said I could rest my eyes, no problem. I then showed him out and blocked his number. I can't remember his name anymore, I just call him the beard eater. And he worked in food services. Ugh. That entire image, it's so gross, it's so gross, it's so gross. Anyway, I have to drink some water to deal with that mental image. It's ugh. Went on a date with a guy who almost got into a wreck on the way to the movie theater we were going to. On the way back to my car, he got pulled over for going 50 on a 30-mile-per-hour curvy back road. When the officer left the car to write the ticket, he turned to me and said, I don't think speed limits should apply at night because there's no one out here. He later told me he was being investigated for being in a car accident that, quote, wasn't his fault, and a lady had died in it. Well, I'm glad you only went on one date, and that didn't repeat, because we don't want you dying in a car accident because this guy is an idiot. I love the breakup stories where the ex is, like, super petty for no reason at all and does something absolutely stupid, so let's hear it. When I broke up with my cheating ex, he came to my place to pick up his stuff. That's normal. But this guy was so mad that I dumped him after cheating on me with half the city, so it's definitely his fault. He took the full bag out of the vacuum with him because he bought those bags. Like, leave the vacuum bags. If I bought my ex trash bags, I would leave the trash there because they're trash. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of person you don't want to live your life with, because if they're keeping a list of, like, everything they've ever given you, I just hate that. I just hate that. I'm just, like, too generous, and also I do not care. If I spent the money, it's gone. I do not need it back. My ex-fiance and I went to the post office to drop off our save the dates, and when we got home, he told me he didn't love me anymore. Like, bro, did you do it? Couldn't you have done it before the save the dates? I hate this man. It was horrible, but I made him call everyone to throw out our save the dates. He was so embarrassed, but I did not care. Weeks later, I found out he had been having an affair with a friend of mine. Joke's on them, because I found an amazing partner who loves me for who I am. Well, F that dude, but also I'm so happy you found an amazing partner. I love when these stories are like terrible person, bad breakup, but look who I'm with today. It gives me some hope. Okay. Oh, the cat is coming over to say hi. You want to say hi? You're Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim. You want to go lay down with Emmy, the dog? Okay, now Emmy wants to say hi. Y'all see Emmy? Okay, back to the breakup drama. When my cheating, emotionally abusive ex and I broke up, my boss at that time expanded his business in order to directly compete with my ex's business and to put my ex out of town. Out of business. Almost said out of town. It's out of business. It worked. That simple phrase, it worked. Hallmark. You heard it here. This is the story of the year. I don't want to see a Christmas Hallmark movie unless it's about a set in the holidays and it's to drive an ex out of business. If that's the storyline, then I'm here for it. And I know that her boss is probably married, but like, I would be here if we had a romantic comedy where the boss and the girl got together. Like, I'm here for that. That would be the only, unless it was gay. Oh, it would be even better if it was gay. Oh, bitch, that would be so good. But it would be so good if it was gay. But that's the kind of rom-com I like to watch, where somebody does get what's coming to them. This is one of my favorite stories because this is so freaking funny. I had an ex break up with me because I have an English accent and he was voting yes for Scottish independence and didn't want to look like a traitor. He also had 2 other girlfriends at the same time, but you know, the accent. Dude, just like walk out the door and don't come back. I love this one. This is like one of my favorites. I accidentally broke up with my abusive high school boyfriend over voice text. I put my phone down on the counter, told my best friend how I needed to break up with this dude, picked up my phone, heard the send tone, only to see my phone was pulled up to my conversation with the BF, and I had recorded the entire conversation and sent it to him before I even realized what happened. I call it a blessing in disguise, lol. Yeah, that is a definite blessing in disguise. You can do it. I mean, that's even better because it's a voice message. Also, it was an accident, and he's abusive, so walk that trash to the curb and leave it. Also, on a side note, do you say LOL or LOL? I always say LOL. LOL sounds like a lollipop and just sounds weird, so I just say LOL. Alright. Y'all, these breakup stories are so good. I love them. I love them so much. Okay, this one was just weird. Yeah, I appreciate it, but it was also weird. Breakup story time. My ex and I dated 7 years and have been broken up almost 8. We remained on good terms. I figured out that his current wife and I, also 7 plus 8, that's 15. So that's 15 years ago they started dating, broken up for 8 years. I figured out that his current wife and I are very distantly related. So in my head, I refer to her as Diet Me. And they're having a kid in 3 months and naming it a name my ex asked for my approval on back when they were just dating. They also got married the weekend after my birthday, and he made sure to message me happy birthday a few days before their big day. This dude is just trash. I feel so sorry for the Diet Me in that situation. I hope she figures out that he's that he is about all about the one who got away, and maybe she'll find someone who loves her for her and not just because she's the diet ex, you know? But also, how awkward. Like, how do you deal with that? If you've ever dealt with that, how would you handle it? Would you tell her? Would you tell her husband is all about the one who got away and not about her? Like, how do you go about that? I don't know. How many boys or girls have told you that they matter more than what you're passionate about? Because this is what this one's about. I went on a date with a guy, which was the first red flag. Going on a date with a guy, first red flag. Sorry to all my straight friends out there. And I invited him to get coffee with me on the campus Starbucks. He had no interest. He had no thoughts. I talked to him for an hour. I was then like, well, I gotta go. And he said, I don't know. I kind of want to skip class to be with you longer with these, like, puppy dog eyes. You know, that emoji. And I looked him in the eyes and said, the one thing you've told me was that you were flunking out of nursing school and you want to skip classes. Not hot. And he went to class and I never saw Kyle again. It's not sexy to skip class for me. Not sexy to skip work or class for anyone. Also, his name was Kyle. I'm sorry, Kyle, but you apparently had no personality and you were flunking out of nursing school. I don't want you in the hospital. I hope you found something else in life. Okay, this one's so chaotic. It might be my favorite one. Actually, there's several of my favorites. These stories are just making my day. I hope they make your day. I met this guy at a friend's party and immediately had this deep connection. Like, I had never felt that instantly connected with someone before. We left the party with each other's numbers and couldn't wait to go on another date. How do you go to a party and leave with someone's number? I would really like to know. Anyway, date 2 happens and it seemed to be going well. Again, great connection, but something just felt off, but I didn't know what I said that caused the off thing. I hate that feeling. But we had great convo and agreed to meet again. But then I kind of felt ghosted. There was definitely some radio silence. Again, we had connected, so I was curious. Finally, I got up the courage to straight up ask if it was something I said, and yep, it was when I mentioned my last name. Turns out we were cousins. Our mothers are first cousins, and we each have our father's last name. Now, for context, we come from a very large family. I hardly keep up with my immediate family. My mother's brothers and sisters and their kids. Never mind my mother's cousins. So when we went on a date and I mentioned my last name, he put that in context with a bit of my background. The date was awkward because he just wanted to get through it so that he could ask his mom about my family. On one hand, he didn't want to alarm me, but on the other hand, he wanted to leave it pleasant enough that if it wasn't true, the door would be open to message me for another date. So number one, he's a sweetheart because he's like, don't want to scare this kid, kid, why did I call her a kid? I don't want to scare her because I really like her, but we could be cousins. That's so weird. I would turn around and run from the restaurant if I thought I was on a date with my cousin. Yikes. A great one here. I was once dating this guy who showed early red flags of possessiveness and not respecting my boundaries. On the eve of my 19th birthday, yes, I was a baby, and he was 26. So gross. 26-year-olds should not be dating 18-year-olds. I said what I said. He said he didn't want to come to my birthday party because, quote, I wouldn't be able to give him enough attention while I attended my family and friends. Dude, it's her birthday. What's wrong with you? Why do you need so much attention you can't celebrate your girlfriend's birthday? I was on the phone with my aunt, and I said I didn't want to have to deal with that, and she said, then don't. I love your aunt. So I womaned up and called him out on his BS and broke up with him on the day before my birthday. Honestly, really rough to go around the breakup on your birthday, but he was trash, and I hope your birthday, I'm sure it was, also, I'm sorry, I'm fixing my hair. I'm sure it was, super hard on your birthday, but, good for you. I chose me and my boundaries and felt very powerful. Great birthday and felt that much wiser and stronger. Listen, break up with them. Don't wait for it to, get so messy and bad. Just, end it when they act like a bitch. You know what I mean? My ex-girlfriend laid her head on the table in a coffee shop and begged me not to leave her. Eventually, I had to get up and leave her there after breaking up with her around 15 times. That would be so awkward in the coffee shop. I can't imagine it. So on that note, I'm going to end with my own messy dating breakup story. Not a breakup, just a messy dating story. Because these could be dating or breakup stories. So messy dating story. I went on a first date with a girl in Orlando when I was living there and working at Disney. It was super great because this person was not in the Disney bubble. So I was excited to meet someone who didn't work at Disney and maybe was different. Disney people, they're unique. Anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna finally get outside the Disney bubble and go on a date with someone. So I drove an hour outside of Disney to go on a date with this person. I got to the coffee shop and they were like, oh, I'm a junior in college. I was like, okay. And they were super loud. So I walk in and they said my name so loudly that everyone in the coffee shop could hear them. And also, I was not out yet, so I was, out to a couple friends, but I was not out on social media and not ready to be, out to the entire world. So it was really awkward because, everyone in the coffee shop could tell I was on a date with this girl, and she worked at the coffee shop because it was Starbucks, so she worked there. So I was I felt awkward. Anyway, she was obviously not working at the time, but we went to a table to have coffee, and Stop biting me. The cat is attacking the hand while I'm trying to tell the story. Anyway, so we're sitting there trying to have coffee, and I'm like, so what do you want to do? And she's like, well, my parents want me to go to law school. I was like, cool, what kind of law? Constitutional, divorce, immigration, human rights. I criminal. I start listing all the kinds of law, and she's like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what kind of law I want to do. And I was like, well, I like to try to figure out, maybe something that you're passionate about, and then, whatever law would work with that. So if you're passionate about immigrant rights, maybe work in immigration law. If you're passionate about, politics, figure out, human rights or constitutional. And she was like, oh, I'm not really passionate about anything that goes with law. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, but my parents want me to go to law school. I was like, oh, okay. And then she says, but I really love fashion. I was like, oh, she likes fashion. So I, changed the subject. Oh, what do you like about fashion? And then I, mentioned The Devil Wears Prada. And she was like, what? I was like, the movie, with Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. She's like, never heard of it. I grew up in a cult. I know that movie. So I was like, what? And you want to work in fashion? And you've never heard of The Devil Wears Prada? I was like, well, do you know it's about Vogue? She's like, Vogue? What's Vogue? I was like, the fashion magazine. So it turned out this girl knew nothing about fashion. She liked to draw, and that's why she liked fashion. Because she liked to draw people in their outfits. But I was like, oh, well, if you're interested in fashion, maybe you should, look up classes that can, you need to learn how to sew, and you need to learn how to construct a garment from your drawings. And I was suggesting things she could do if she liked to stay in college, because her parents wanted her to stay in college and she wanted to do fashion. So the date was going disastrously. There was no chemistry, and this girl did not know what she wanted to do in life. So I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to leave. I'm gonna walk up the door. And she kind of like stops me on my way out the door. And she's like, so I know you might not want me to be my girlfriend, but I was thinking maybe you could be my like life mentor because you have really good ideas on how to live. No thanks. No thanks. I'm not a life coach. I'm not interested in being anyone's life coach. I can barely control my own life. So it was probably one of the most awkward dates I've ever been on. Okay, so those are the fun breakup, dating, funny stories. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I thought it was super fun to make. It's going to be a mess to edit, but that's okay. And of course, I'm going to have a Google survey/doc down below where you can drop your disastrous dating stories. Maybe we can react to them on here next time. And, see y'all around. Be sure to follow me on Instagram where I post these stories on Instagram stories. I said it twice, stories in a row. I hate when I do that. But I do like questions of the week on Instagram and share, relationship red flags from people and like bad dating stories and all sorts of fun little trivia. I don't know what I'm saying. All sorts of fun little stuff on Instagram stories and on Instagram itself. I guess Instagram in the feed. Anyway, yeah, add me on Instagram, and I will see y'all all around the internet. See ya.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.